How's it going, everybody? It's Angel Carlos, and today I want to welcome you guys back to another video. So for today's video, I compiled a list of certain things that I feel are important to know. One, as a realtor, and also two, if you are a buyer watching this video when it comes to home appraisals. So number one on my list is lender ordering the appraisal. So once attorney inspection review period has wrapped up, this is usually the period when your lender gets in contact with your buyer or your client and specifically starts talking about ordering the appraisal. Once AI has wrapped up, and also this is a time when you want to check in. If you're a realtor, you want to check in with your lender and see or get an update for the file of your client. And also you want to make sure that you let your client know to be in contact or up to date with any request the lender requires, such as documents or any paperwork, which are important during this stage in the home buying process. This is usually the time when the lender will begin working on the loan application with your client, aka the buyer. So this part of the process is very important because your lender will begin the loan application process with your client and also go over any important things that are included in the loan application. So a loan application contains important information that's relevant to your client's loan, such as estimated monthly payments, their interest rate, the necessary funds needed to close, and any other terms included in the loan. Once all of this is done, more than likely your lender will order your appraisal. So number two on my list, I have what is an appraisal. So the purpose of an appraisal is for the banks to confirm that they're not gonna overlend, or to also confirm the purchase price that's in the contract, agreed upon contract between the buyer and the seller, is reasonable and of fair market value. Say if a property is worth 200K and the appraisal comes in at 195, the bank will not lend you those 200K, that extra $5,000, because the property is not worth, based on their appraisal, is not worth 200,000. So once the appraisal is actually complete, your client's file moves to underwriting. So number three on my list, I have what if the appraisal comes in low. So when the appraisal comes in low, usually this means that the agreed upon purchase price that was initially in the contract or in the offer was pretty much a little bit higher than what the property actually appraised for. This means that the seller usually was going to walk away with more at the end of the sale with the agreed upon purchase price. But now that the appraisal came in lower, technically the seller will be walking away with less money after closing. So there are three solutions to when the appraisal comes in low. Number one is the buyer brings the remainder that's necessary to complete the sale of the original purchase price that was agreed upon between the buyer and the seller at closing, usually out of pocket and aside from down payment and closing costs. And solution number two is the seller comes down to the appraised value, which means that the original purchase price that was agreed between the buyer and the seller is non-existent now, and the seller decided to come down to the appraised value. And solution number three is no agreement is reached and both parties walk away. And number four on my list, I have what if the appraisal comes in higher. If the appraisal comes in higher, this is a good thing for the buyer. It's a good thing for the buyer for the following reasons. One, it confirms that the buyer is not overpaying for the property since the appraised value came in higher than the actual purchase price. And number two, it also confirms that the buyer is already walking in with equity already in the property. And number five on my list, I have how to negotiate a low appraisal. So one of the first things you want to do when you do receive the news that the appraisal value came in lower than the agreed upon purchase price is let your client know. As a realtor, it's very important to report any of these important news to your client that are crucial to the deal, as not letting them know as soon as possible can actually affect the deal overall. Sometimes this could be upsetting news to your client, as this could be a risk to the deal overall. A big mistake you want to avoid when a situation like this arises is not taking charge of the situation. It's very important that you do take charge of this situation. Make sure you get in contact with all the parties involved, because letting the other parties handle the situation, they may not have the same approach as you do. So just remember, at the end of the day, is to get them to their dream home.